You know what? Let's start the fucking show.
You uncultured swine! Swine! You uncultured swine!
That's a horrible introduction.
No, no, I'll put that in there.
That
Oh,
is
I
just a
don't hear
horrible
you
way to.
speaking. You're like, oh,
No, because you just went into it.
well, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, what do you want to start off with? You just said right now that we'll leave that for the show, but what were we talking about? I forgot.
We get shrapnel.
Yes, from last night. Yes,
Oh yeah, that
last
was
night.
that,
Last night being Monday night,
that was
Tuesday
an
morning.
that was an interesting debacle because I'm the one that ended up in the middle of all those other tweets.
You weren't in the middle. You're just kind of tagged.
Well, I mean,
Being
I'm the
in,
one.
yeah.
I'm the one that got stuck tagged in all the other tweets. I'm the one that got tagged into specific tweets that everybody was like liking and like messaging back to kid.
All right. And since you were in the middle, tell us how it all started.
Well, how it all started is this guy tweeted at Shrapnel asking if Shrapnel plays Call of Duty because he thought he only played games like Borderland. Apparently, the guy only watched Wicked Shrapnel back when Yodi Slater was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yodi Slayer? Yodi
Mm-hmm.
Slayer? I don't know how to say it. I still don't know how to say it.
I think
Whatever.
it's Yodi. I think it's Yodi.
But it was when he was still alive and still making Borderlands videos because he would play along. Wicked and Yodi would play along and play Borderlands, even though he still. I think most of the stuff that was on Shrapnel's channel was Call of Duty. Every once in a while, Borderlands would pop up.
He would do the DLC, like he would do the DLC like
I,
post
I
on his
know he'd
channel with that.
live stream.
He would live stream every now and then, but he never really posted Borderlands unless it was DLC. Like again, nobody really wanted to watch just Borderlands footage. They wanted to watch the DLC footage. And since he was playing with Yodi's Flare and Meatwagon, that's why he would post it.
So Shrapnel jokingly, not only did he put the period in front of his name so everybody can see,
Mm-hmm.
he jokingly put COD. What's that? Never heard of it. A guy responds with, he knows about the Wicked Elite, and he didn't know if Wicked was in the Wicked Elite because he thought he only played Borderlands. When I got into it, after Shrapnel put that he just joined the Wicked Elite last week, was I just put, le face palm, GG.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just skyrocketed from there. The guy saying he's part of a group called LG. I think it
LG,
was
yeah.
yeah,
He probably meant to put like MLG or something,
no,
or maybe a
no,
clan called LG.
no. It's a clan called LG. Like I look at his thing, I'm like, it is LG because his Twitter is LG. It's like a clan of some sort. I forgot what it was called, and he does tweet at like the XGC guys and whatnot. So it is like a clan.
He only had like about like
Lethal Gaming,
28 tweets
Lethal,
though.
Lethal Gaming.
Yeah, he only had about like 28 tweets before he started tweeting at Shrapnel.
But yeah, but he was saying like he's part of MLG, and technically he was saying he's part of MLG. He's aware of other clans. The fact that he knows XGC and a couple like others, most of clans are aware of the Wicked Elite. The guy continues going on and going like, but like he gets so confused because everybody starts tweeting at him like you're stupid, pretty much. You're dumb.
Mm.
Wicked calmly says, I know you won't understand, but I'm gonna block you for your own safety. Pretty much is what he stated.
Mm-hmm.
He gets blocked, and then this one kid, apparently 2 hours later, has a beef with Shrapnel saying that like there was no reason for you to retweet that stuff because, first of all, he never retweeted. He directly talked to the guy.
No, no, that guy was, I think, getting retweets from Shrapnel. Like Shrapnel was retweeting his stuff. I'm not too sure, but I remember Shrapnel tweeting out saying that if you retweet something, it's bullying,
Oh
as
no,
a
no, no, no.
sarcastic joke.
The reason he said that was because the other guy said it.
Yeah,
Because the other guy that started attacking Shrapnel said it. The
yeah.
other guy was saying just like, I looked up to you and blah blah blah, but this is cyberbullying, alright? It's offensive, you're like really destroying the other person and the ego, blah blah blah. And the thing is, like Jay Morning After Kill got into it, and he jokingly said, "Oh, I'm being cyberbullied because Wicked Shrapnel favorited one of my tweets."
Mm.
I responded with Jay going like, "Yeah, he sent all of us, like Wicked Shrapnel commanded all of us to, dot dot dot. He didn't tell us to go do anything." And that's the thing. It's just like the guy was complaining about cyberbullying was complaining for no reason. I think he just wanted attention
Mm,
because he didn't send us to go do anything. All
that's the
right.
thing. Like, there's some people who know their following and how they act. That, which is kind of why he stopped it where he did.
And all the tweets that were going to the one guy weren't bad. They were just like, oh my god, kind of
They're
like a little
teasing him,
yeah, a little
hazing.
joke
Yeah.
like if you were aware of him before, you know, go after. The only one that was kind of bad was Jay's. But Jay was telling him like, look, if you really, this could have been settled if you wanted to go to his channel.
Yeah. Which then he replied with, "What do you mean? Or what are you getting at?" I think what he said.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the other thing. But the thing is, even if he went to Wicked's channel right now, he wouldn't see any Call of Duty.
Very, very few would actually be Call of Duty. That's correct.
No, he hasn't
And
done Call of
he
Duty,
he
and
also said something about like seeing that Wicked Shrapnel had TK in there. Like, oh, that's Call of Duty clan. I was like, yes, yes, it is.
yeah, that's right. He said, well, no, he thought he was fake. Remember, somebody else said he was the real Wicked Shrapnel.
It's true.
Somebody else came in and said he was the real Wicked Shrapnel because Wicked Shrapnel TK was the fake one.
Yeah, there is a lot of Wicked Shrapnels out there. Well, the fact that Wicked Shrapnel had just Wicked Shrapnel, he doesn't
I
have
can't.
TK in his header. He just has it in his name. The TK is just there in his name. But that's it.
Well, obviously the guy doesn't follow Wicked. Pay attention to the Wicked Elite or follow Wicked Shrapnel that well to know that I was gonna say they were bought out. They merged with TK like
Yeah,
3 weeks ago, two
3
weeks
weeks
ago,
ago,
something like that. 3 weeks ago.
a while back.
I
I could check my DMs and that'd probably be it. But
does
um,
it
May 5th. So
I don't know. So even then, but it's being saying like 2 3 weeks ago, doesn't it feel like it's a lot longer?
it does. It's the internet news. It was like a
It's
space week ago.
yeah, yeah. You shut your
It was a space
face.
week ago. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks.
It would be a space half week, yes.
Yeah, half of a space week. Yeah,
It would be 3 space days.
3 space days.
To bring that up, how dare you?
No, I tried using that. I don't know how many times. You just never catch on. like
I haven't heard
like
you.
Johnny was
I
like, "How long
I
have we been
think
doing this podcast? Like 2 months now." I'm like, "Nah, it's 2 space weeks, bro."
I don't
And
think
you didn't hear it because Smash was in the background talking at the same time.
probably
Yeah.
that's the problem. Is you get trumped. This is gonna be the first one where
Yeah,
you don't get trumped.
I don't have to do much like really audio changing just for the fact that it's just your voice and then my voice on separate channels. So when I fucking edit it together, it would just be boom. I can have my voice somewhat high, your voice somewhat high, or somewhat leveled, whatever. It'll be perfectly aligned. You won't hear
Yeah.
Johnny's perfect fucking audio quality trumping like whatever bad we get.
And now that we have Johnny fired, we are currently looking for a third host, um, preferably not bearded, that can grow hair on his head.
Does transitional phases and all that sort of stupid shit. Uh,
Doesn't act doesn't say he acts professional.
he's not Canadian. That's another thing. That's very important.
I don't know. I don't mind Lime.
Yeah, Lime's more American than you really think.
Oh no, he is a very humble, green
Canadian.
thumbed man.
Yeah, he's got that green thumb, all right.
Yes.
If anybody who has his green thumb that lives in Canada, they're officially American, and in some way African. But yes, he is very very nationalized Canadian. He is accepted by all unions. I'll say that. Maybe not the Islam, but yeah.
I don't see him getting accepted by the government union.
The Canadian government, yes.
The Canadian government, yes, but I don't see the American government unless it's like Colorado or
Can we really
fucking.
call that place a government?
Well, it's being governed by its own state. The state itself is being governed under its own state government.
I don't know why, but when I hear that, I think of Starsky and Hutch. We govern ourselves. Like, yeah.
I haven't seen
You haven't seen
that.
Starsky and Hutch in a long
I
time?
haven't seen that since like it came out. It was dumb then.
It
The
wasn't
Snoop
that
Dogg,
great.
the Snoop Dogg one,
I'll
right?
say when they met Snoop Dogg and they're like, hey, what is this, whatever like that. They start like, we govern ourselves.
What was the stupid phrase that they used in that commercial?
What commercial?
In the
Trailer?
commercial for Starsky, yeah, in the trailer for Starsky and Hutch, I can see him dressed up as like a douchey Guido.
Snoop Dogg?
No, not Snoop
I was
Dogg.
gonna say 'cause he's like
Ben Stiller.
he's like one of the
Ben
main
Stiller.
characters.
No,
Ben
Ben
Stiller.
Stiller. He's like dressed up as like
Oh,
a
the do it,
douchey. Yeah.
do it.
That is a phrase. Is the
I've
only
I've
thing
tweeted that out a couple of times.
I know, but that is. I don't think I've actually visually seen you do
That's
it.
'cause the most of replies. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, hey, do it,
Do it.
do it.
That is the only phrase I remember from that movie.
I got a wig guy. Like, you have a wig guy? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I only remember
Hey, sit on it, Manelli. Why don't you sit on it? I was like, that's like one of the stupidest comebacks I've ever heard in my life. But yeah,
like Ben Stiller, the king of the dumbest one-liners.
really, really good looking. Yeah,
I would be Zoolander.
yeah,
My favorite is from Dodgeball. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
yeah. That one's pretty good. That really happened, you know. What the fucking stupid bull and shit. Oh my god,
At the
that's
very end,
metaphor.
at the
He got
very
us by the horns.
my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Laser, laser.
Laser, blazer, taser.
Was there a taser?
Body,
No, I think
my bodyguard, Michelle.
no, there was no taser. I think it was just laser and blazer because
There was the,
there's only five people in each team. It was him, the big black guy from fucking Underworld, those two guys, and then Michelle.
the big black guy from Underworld.
Yeah, the guy with like a really really deep voice. Got overrun. I don't know.
Yeah, his voice.
It's really deep, but it sounds like it's somewhat alternated because the only real deep voice I've ever heard are those fucking country singers when they're doing those Ford commercials, and Michael Clark Duncan. That guy, he probably does have a really deep voice. Oh, and then also the guy, he used to do a bunch of songs, but he used to do the voice for Barry in Angry Beavers. You know,
I know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
he used to do a lot of cartoons. He still does a lot of cartoons as far as like deep black voices.
Oh my god, the one-liners in Underdog in Dodgeball are just so good. I was trying to look up your line. I was trying to look up that line, and there's
Metaphor one?
just yeah, I know the Blazer Laser
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Blazer Taser. I can't find that line, but I just see
I like
I,
what
I see. Oh, now he's a philosophizer.
It's like, and then he's like, "Step over the line. That's a warning." Oh, come on, give me a break. I was like, "He just gave you a warning. Like, that's not an actual penalty. It's a warning. That is a break." That's why I loved it so much. But there's one scene in that movie. I can't remember. I can't remember it now. No. I'm sorry. What I was thinking of was an Adult Swim. They made one little they made one little comment about like making another Starsky and Hutch movie. They're like, does the world really need another Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson movie? Of course it does. And it cuts like Zoolander and all these movies like,
Yes.
and it cuts to like him getting hit in the nuts like in all the movies he's been in like me myself and no not me myself and something about Mary like in the Zoolander and all these stupid movies like he's like, getting hit in the nuts like constantly and shit by all these different characters and shit. It was pretty funny. But yeah, what did you just find? What were you talking about just right now?
The metaphor.
It's a metaphor. It's being grabbed left by the
Yep.
horns.
Yep.
That really happened, you know.
Yep. That's me taking the bull by the horns.
Oh,
It's
but
how I like to run my business. It's a metaphor. But that actually happened, though.
yeah, I love that shit.
I haven't seen that movie. It's one of those movies I can't watch.
on TV.
I can watch it on TV. It's just like it's one of those movies I can't watch. Like
Like pre-planned.
I could watch it pre-planned. It's just I have
It's
to.
not a movie. It's not a movie you'll
I
choose
can't watch
out
it.
from your DVD collection.
I can't watch it continuously. I
Oh,
can't watch it like 1 week it'll be on, right, and the next week my friend for some reason will have the spur of the moment going like, I want to watch Dodgeball. I'm like, dude, I would, but I just saw it last week. Normally I'd say yes, but it's that kind of movie I don't want it. Don't want to lose its glory.
that movie does come out a lot on TV, just because of the I don't know Fox Searchlight or Fox Spotlight, whatever Searchlight productions and all that stuff, the studio and shit. So it does come out a lot on FX.
We are the Globo Gym Purple Cobras, and we will rock you.
Yeah, that movie was pretty funny.
I had that movie. That was, I think, the first movie I owned on the PSP.
Oh well.
Back when the PSP used to do the little UMDs.
Yeah, I had Beavis and Butthead.
I had I had Underdog. I had Dodgeball, and I had Kill Bill Volume 2.
It was not bad having those movies, but I did like the fact that after a while they're like, hey, it's just we're going into
The,
digital.
th- the thing is, it wasn't the full movie. There were scenes cut. If I
There were
remember
scenes
correctly.
cut and there was like no special features. It was
It
just the
wasn't
actual
it
movie.
wasn't a lot of scenes cut. It was like Kill Bill being 2 hours long. It was cut to maybe an hour and a half. They cut out some fluff
Yeah,
where you weren't able to really notice, but I noticed.
yeah.
It's almost the
No,
same thing as those little, remember the little cartridges, little Nicktoon cartridges for
yeah,
the
for the Game Boy
DS?
Advance. Yeah,
The Game Boy Advance, that's what it was. Okay, but those were amazing though.
yeah, because but there were only like 3 episodes of different cartoons. They weren't like,
It,
oh, there's a season of it. It's more like, hey, there's one episode of the Rugrats, one episode
like
of like all grown up and all that sort of stuff.
Nicktoons Rewind is just, I remember having them going like, yes, Angry Beavers. It was like Angry Beavers, Rugrats, and like Rocket Power.
Yeah, yeah. And then I still remember. I think I probably still have it. The episode of SpongeBob when he makes that pizza delivery. That was pretty much it.
The
Then
Krusty Krab
that
pizza.
episode was like all grown up, which like I really didn't really care for because I think that's like one of the worst like spin-offs of
I
all
liked All
time.
Grown Up.
I like the fact that they changed their outfits for every episode. That was pretty cool and how they innovated
That
and
was
also
actually kind of unique because I think it's one of the first cartoons to do that.
yeah they had different costumes every single time, different hairstyles every now and then. And like they literally like, grew up in a way and they changed every episode. But after a while, the reason why you like the Rugrats so much is because they went on these little adventures and they were babies. When they're all grown up and stuff, they're facing like teenage problems where you're like, yeah, that,
Well, I enjoyed that because the thing at the time I was still watching like Rocket Power,
uh,
so I still had that ability. I still had that sense of like
can't watch
being,
cartoons.
yeah, but at the same time, it's
I
just
think
like,
after a while, I think Rocket Power even changed their clothes. I'm not even sure.
no, Rocket Power didn't change their clothes. They changed the voice
They
of
changed their voice actor of Sam, but that was pretty much it.
no, not just Sam, but
I don't know. He had this. It was the same.
Twister.
Twister too. I don't say the same. Registered the same. I think. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Screw cartoons. Whatever.
But those two were the main ones I pretty much watched it for.
Yeah, screw the cartoons or whatever. The whole UMD thing. Yeah, once they started letting you download movies and then watch it on there, that was pretty cool.
Once you're able to realize that you can buy bigger sticks for cheap instead of buying it from Sony, that's
Yeah.
when that's when it went haywire. That's when I went haywire because I'm like,
Have you ever
look,
gone to Best Buy and looked at the 16 gigabyte sticks for Microsoft? They're like 60 bucks.
the 16 gigabyte memory stick duos for the PSP
Like
were like
64 bucks. Yeah.
64 80 bucks.
Yeah.
I can pick up a. I want a fucking train, dude.
I can do the train. Yeah.
I know. It's
But
what I deal with every day. But
you can buy a 16 gigabyte
I
like
could buy a
USB drive for like
I could buy
60
a
bucks.
32 gigabyte memory stick duo by like Kodak or something for like 20.
Yeah. Or fucking like what's it called? Like Geek Squad. I remember I like an 8 gigabyte for 8 bucks, and then I buy like a 16 one for like 14 bucks.
My camera that I don't use to record Rocksmith anymore because the phone is so much better, clear wise.
Yeah.
Um, and I can actually align myself in it.
Oh, you,
Uh,
you mean the El Presidor cam where it makes everything like all orange fucking filtered?
I don't know who the fuck El Presidor is.
Bullshit. Bull
I,
fucking shit. You know who he is. We talked about him before.
I hate him.
The beast.
I
He knocks
hate
down
him.
trees. He does
I
he,
hate,
he does he does the forest
he
good.
is a horrible character.
A Rabador is a lot better. Whatever.
The camera that I have, right, for $10, I bought, you know, those little mini micro SDs that go into phones?
Yeah, they're pretty annoying.
It's a 64 gig.
Mm.
It's a lot of gigs for $10.
Yeah.
And that in itself, I find is amazing.
Yeah, those things are actually really good to have. The thing is, like certain phones, like our iPhones, they cannot use that.
Yeah, I know.
Some cell phones they could, and then like also some tablets
All
you need the little
Androids,
adapter for it.
all Androids, I think, have it. I
Some of
believe
them can't
all.
go to that high capacity though. Like I know that when I
No,
used to
no,
sell
no,
Dell
not,
tablets, the highest
not,
can
not,
go to 64.
not the highest of capacity, but I meant like I think all tablets, all Android devices have the ability to
No.
insert that little card.
I know what you mean. You thought I said as in like internal storage. Like no, some just could not use memory cards that had that much memory. Like the Xboxes, they can only use USB sticks that have up to 16 gigabytes. Even if I could have like a 500 gigabyte, external hard drive or a portable hard drive, but it will only use 16 gigabytes of it.
PlayStation's different though.
PlayStation is different,
PlayStation,
yes.
PlayStation allows you to do it.
Yeah,
I
because
know
they're a
I did it.
hardware company, while Microsoft's software.
Yeah, that's for their assholes.
Assholes. All right.
Asshole.
All right, so we discussed shrapnel, we discussed the UMD, we discussed PSP and all this other shit, and Ben Stiller of all movies.
Although, if we want to stay on the PSP for a second,
Go for
the
it.
PSP Vita being, I believe, all download.
The Vita, yeah.
Right? It is all download, right?
The games, yeah. I don't remember seeing any cartridges or any CDs for the games. I think it's all downloaded to buy from the PNCN store.
Um,
We could be wrong.
did they go away from? I think they went away from movie storage and all that stuff. I don't know if you can still buy movies and put it on your PSP or not. I've
You can buy it through the PNCN store as far as like renting or buying it, but you can also get it from Voodoo and all that kind of stuff. They have apps on them.
Voodoo. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have the Netflix app on their stuff too, so it
Like
doesn't matter.
Voodoo's like Flickster and also Ultraviolet stuff. Like the whole iTunes like in store movies. It's kind of the same thing.
Because back when I had the PSP, I was like, what? Still in high school?
The PSP never really kind of had that many things to do it. The PSP was kind of like the PS3. It was not really that innovative. The PSP Vita, yeah, it's because
Did it,
it got that
did,
little extra thumbstick and all that stuff. The back of the stupid console thing, the handheld was a kind of like a touchpad, kind of like the PS4 controllers are.
was the PSP out during the PS3 or was it out during the PS2? I felt like it was out during the PS2, near the end of its life cycle.
The PS2 was around for like another 2.5 years after the PS3 came out, but the PS Vita came out what like '05?
Not the Vita.
No,
Just
I'm talking about the regular PSP came out around like '05 on
I
there. Cause I
think.
remember Madden '05 being on it.
Well, I had Kill Bill Volume 2. Kill Bill came out in '04, but
A lot of
it
movies
came.
were made for the PSP. Like that had been out for a long
I
time.
know, but that one was one of the newer ones.
Spider-Man 2 was like a new release for the PSP when it came out.
I know, but the thing about Spider-Man 2, plus, well, yeah, I guess the movie did come out in '03.
And we came out like in '03, and then Spider-Man 3 was like in 2007.
I know Spider-Man 3 was in 2007. That was the summer of. That was the summer of superhero movies after I graduated. That was a horrible movie. I remember going to the movie, right? The only good thing I got out of it was like 60 or so comic books of Spider-Man because my movie theater was giving them out for every person that went in. I
Yeah.
walked up to it, I grabbed the whole rack and walked away.
Uh,
went
yeah,
to school
and
the
that go
next
no.
day.
Yeah.
Went to school the next day and just handed them out. I just threw them everywhere.
You're like Johnny Knoxville just like throwing out cash to the little kid when he starts stripping. Of course, I haven't seen the movie, just in the trailer. You're like, hey,
I
comic book for you.
yeah, I still have not seen that movie, but that scene was probably the first time I've ever heard my friend laugh super hard. Because my friend doesn't laugh that hard. He chuckles, and maybe every once in a while he'll laugh. He'll laugh really hard if he's hammered, but he was stone cold sober, and I heard him bust out laughing, like roll on floor. He was literally rolling on the floor crying,
Hmm.
laughing so hard he was in pain from that scene.
I've had that happen to me very, very, very few times. But it must have been when I was like a little kid watching like Dumb and Dumber and stuff. It had to have been.
But at this age, you're just like, not that many things make me laugh, but for some reason, that
Because
was
you're giving a
hilarious.
little kid fucking money.
And on top of that, you know it's a boy dressed as a girl stripping,
It's a boy dressed up as a girl stripping.
at,
Okay,
at,
a little young
a
lad,
pageant.
and then it's an old man just like fucking making it rain with like all those ones. That's the thing, and I don't know how those movies work. Like I don't know if people actually believe that they're actual real characters. Cause I know some movies are kind of like fake. Like what's that one dude, the guy who does like Bruno and all that stuff. So people have to be kind of in on it, and they
I
even
forget
redo
his
certain
name.
scenes.
I forget his name. I really do.
It starts
But
with an
yeah,
S or Elijah or Salaj or something like that.
I don't know the guy
Very
who does
feminine name.
the host of Ali G.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ali G. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, but I'm pretty sure those movies, those some of those scenes have to be kind of fixed. They have to be. Maybe what was the first one he did? Borat.
Uh,
Borat. I think that one might have not been as fake, but some of them had to have been somewhat fake.
well, I think anything after Borat, I think everybody knew his name.
Yeah, only in England he was very popular. Where was it? Which country was he from that people knew about Ali G and people hated his ass? People didn't know it was actually him. They just hated Ali G like really fucking bad because of what he
Sacha
said.
Baron Cohen.
Sasha, there you go. I remember that name, Sasha.
What was when you were asking what was the one movie he did?
Bruno, I think that one was kind of fake as far as
No,
like
no,
it
no.
was like
It was it the Dictator that they hated?
that one was another one. That to be another one.
Let's see. He was
He was Borat. He was Ali G, Borat, Bruno.
he only did those three characters: Ali G, Borat, Bruno, and then he did the
The
Dictator.
Dictator was more like a movie, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a movie movie.
The Dictator was he was acting as a dictator in I think in America.
Yeah, and he loses his like his
Yeah,
stuff or whatever. But he still portrayed it like if he was like the dictator every time he would go and try to promote the movie kind of thing.
yeah, but the only other three characters he did was Borat, Ali G, and Bruno. As far
As
as the
far
movies,
as
how they
personalities
go,
go, yeah.
yeah, because the rest of the movies he did were like legit movies, like
Like the
Talladega
NASCAR
Nights,
was, yes.
Talladega Nights, Madagascar, uh, Anchorman 2, Jolly Boys, Les Miserables, which I still haven't seen that one. I told it was really good.
Is it Ables, the one that's the singing movie?
I think so.
Hugh Jackman and stuff. I heard it was pretty good too.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd and Hugo.
Yep. I don't think we discussed Johnny getting fired just enough.
Oh, this commercial break that isn't a commercial break is brought to you by Johnny Getting Fired.
You're fired!
Yeah,
Johnny
fired.
Getting Fired is brought to you by Johnny Getting More Fired.
It's brought to you by Vince McMahon. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
Can we cue that Vince McMahon?
You're fired!
we will. In fact, I'm pretty sure we have. We have done it maybe 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard it, here it is again.
You're fired!
And just one more time, in case you just didn't understand.
You're fired!
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I really hope I actually fucking edit that shit in. But yeah,
You're like
it's like
this
30
is the
minutes in. It's like
you're
30
like
minutes.
you're like this is the first time I actually have to go in and listen to this podcast. I haven't heard one yet.
I haven't heard I didn't hear the last one even though. Then that's when I actually do remember, like, cause even though we actually record them, I do remember it very very well. The one before that one, after a while, you kind of like, okay, what the hell did we discuss? After a while, you're just kind of losing it.
Yeah. Lately, it's been we're all feeling this like weird springtime boredom.
Well, we're closer to summer now than spring.
I know, but if you remember near the end, you remember being in school, like near the end of school, it felt like school was taking forever to end.
After spring break, yes, it'll take forever.
And right now, I feel like we're in that drought for like content, where everyone's in that drought of like nothing's out. That was probably the other thing I felt bad about Titanfall, if you want to bring that up, is the fact that it came out during
The
technical.
drought.
Yeah, it came not only that it came out at the beginning of the drought. The
Yeah.
fact that I told you, I'm like, you're asking, oh look, Titanfall videos from Pico. I'm like, yeah, there's a DLC. You're like, DLC, and
Yeah,
it's only been like
they just
2
released them.
months.
Um,
That's the
yeah,
other thing.
I gotta get away from that little wind.
It's
Uh,
been like 2 months. I have not heard a DLC dropping that quick. Besides, like on disc DLC.
no, there's some things. I remember Gears of War might have come out with them soon. But as far as like maybe like microtransactions, but as far as like a map pack or like an expansion, there have been some games that came out really soon, or at least talks of it coming out real soon, which they make people mad because like if you're making DLC that quick, why not release it with the game? Which then other people are saying you're stupid, you have no idea how long it takes to make a game. Like the last 2 or 3 months is when you actually kind of make it into like production as far as putting it into CDs and DVDs as far as making copies and that stuff. And then like during that little time, that's when they start creating like DLC because that shit doesn't come out on fucking CDs and DVDs and all that stuff. It comes out through the Xbox Live and Steam and all that stuff now.
I understood if the DLC comes out next month. That way, at least that has like a 3 month time span from date of release to date of DLC.
Yeah, yeah.
It maybe was supposed to come out next month, but they pushed it ahead just so they can try to get sales.
And I want to know, did it come out for the Xbox One and PC first, or is it
Oh
also available for the
yeah,
360 as well?
it's the other thing I never looked
The
up. I
360
don't.
came out like about a month later.
Yeah. So are they gonna be that whole like kind of the way that Xbox had its exclusives first before PlayStation?
Maybe.
Yeah. Don't know. Don't
What
know.
I was gonna say, I do remember people praising Titanfall for coming out in the spring because they said that it's smart of them not to go head to head against the giant that is Call of Duty. Now
It's
I
fun.
think
It's funny if you think about it. Do you think it didn't do that great? But the
um
hype was dead immediately. But do you think the hype would have been more? I guess I don't want to say this, but do you think the hype would have been real if it was being faced up against the other FPS titans?
if it went up against Battlefield and Call of Duty, I think I really think Titanfall might have lasted a little bit longer. Not I'm not saying like lasted as in like it's dead. I'm saying as far as like YouTube wise, because again, there's very few videos. Titanfall is where Battlefield 3 was at when Modern Warfare 3 came out for the Xbox and YouTube and all that stuff. A lot of people were just spamming out Modern Warfare 3 videos as far as Moabs and all that stuff, and Battlefield 3 kind of fizzled away. Now with the PC crowd, it was still kind of big because it was a very beautifully graphic game, and it was one of those games where like people were saying you gotta update your graphics card immediately because of that game, because the graphics were just that great when you saw the footage of it when it's PC settings or PC graphics or whatever. So people were all hyped up for Battlefield 3 for like 2 years. Titanfall has been around for like what 3 years now that they've been saying that, oh, we're gonna make this, we're gonna make that, and then people started getting all fucking wet when they're saying, oh, it's not a regular FPS shooter. There's gonna be robots. It's gonna be in the future. It's gonna be flying this and flying that. And then they said, oh, it's not gonna come out for this. Whether it's gonna be only Xbox 360 and Xbox One and PC, and then also it's gonna come out in the spring, not in the fall. And people were saying, oh, it's a good idea because people get kind of tired of Call of Duty and all that shit gonna coming towards the spring. And that's true. People do get tired of Call of Duty. People do get tired of Battlefield. Well, not really Battlefield. Battlefield can
That's
actually take
weird.
like the next 2 years or so. But people just got tired of it real quick. And then here comes Timefall like, oh yeah, next gen graphics, oh next gen deal with buying Xbox One and stuff, and all this other
Oh
stuff,
my God. It,
revolutionizing shit. And then yeah,
but the more important thing, everyone's like, oh my God, this is the Modern Warfare 2 Infinity Ward.
yes, people were giving the production company or yeah the studio too much fucking I guess credit.
Was it their? This was their first game too.
This is their first game as a company.
It wasn't bad, but I mean, it wasn't spectacular.
People put too much pressure on them. Well, not really pressure. They just put
It's kind of the same way I feel like about the other day when I think I was talking with Eddie Backsmasher. I think it was on their pod. I think it was on his podcast. I don't remember. When they were telling me about the division.
oh the graphics and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't know the name. I didn't know the name. I saw the trailer. I'm like, I've seen this trailer. All it is, like I stated before, is just like, well, It's a Tom Clancy game. I was never really into Tom Clancy games. I think everybody's just really like in that. Oh my god, it looks glorious stage. It could be it could be a crap game for all we know.
From what I saw, I liked it because I do like third-person shooter games. I did
That
like
was
the
the other.
way it
That
moved.
was the other thing. Third person shooters bugged my eyes. Not all of them, but
Yeah,
certain ones.
I like the way it looked as far as like okay, it's not too far away from the character where it's like what's it called like Grand Theft Auto,
Well,
where
not even a
the
distance
guy's
from it.
directly in the fucking middle of the screen and it's third person. Now this one, the guy's to the side,
A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, depending on.
depending on what angle you are when you're hiding behind cover and stuff. And I
Hmm.
like that the way it moved, the way you could aim. Like, all right, it reminds you of again, it was a Tom Clancy game, and I
Yeah, well,
like
that's the
that.
way Ghost Recon was.
Yeah,
Future Soldier.
well, that's all the Ghost Recon games are. But
I.
you never played Advanced Warfighter and all that stuff, or what it called? Yeah, back when the Xbox first came out, there's some pretty cool Ghost Recon games. But it plays just like that. But the thing is, I think it's not as stiff. Like I think it's a little bit better, or maybe just maybe this game would probably be better on like, maybe the PlayStation as far as the controllers goes. Because I don't know why
Yeah,
those games look like it reminded me of Last of Us
Last
and
of Us.
also Uncharted, like the way it looked visually and how you were hiding behind things and stuff. That's how it kind of reminded me of. Because on an Xbox, you really just pew pew and shoot and shit, no matter what you do. There's no
That's what you do.
strategy when you play fucking Xbox games. I don't know, it just felt that way.
Unless you're playing Uno.
Yeah, but that's a third person.
It's
Uh,
not third person.
you know? Nah, that's first person.
Eh, it's a person because you at least get to see your little character. But I see what you
Sometimes.
mean. It's just all those graphics cool, but it's all about the gameplay for me though.
And I'll tell you this, if I were to get that game, I would probably get it on the next gen console if I did have one at the time. I would not get
I think it's only gonna be on next gen
yeah, I think it'll be on Xbox One and stuff.
because it comes out next year.
Yeah. I would get it on the console over the PC because on the PC you'll always cry and cry for that better quality looking thing. Or on the Xbox, I mean, they make it look as good as it can, and that's good enough for me.
Oh yeah, those PC elitists.
Yeah, but even though you have a PC, like the way Johnny says, it's gotta be in 1080p. It's gotta be in 1080p. Even if it's fucking still image, it's gotta be in 1080p. I don't set the standards and shit.
Are
No,
we are we are we still talking about that guy? I thought he quit. Oh no.
well, this is the main reasons why he got fired. His demands and shit, his lack of work. Although he did say the website is, I guess, running now, so he's gonna start working on the RSS feeds, which is cool. Which his internship might get him, back back on the fucking podcast or whatever. But yeah, no, yeah, with the PC leaders, they always want that better graphics. They always want those mods to make it look better or like play better for some reason. And I understand that, but when it comes to games like this, where it makes the game just look as the best it possibly can on the console, I like that. Now, when you saw Gears of War 1 and 2 back in the day, you're like, oh my god, this is great. And then you see like fucking like what's a good looking game on Xbox 360 right now. that when you saw, you're like, holy shit, the graphics aren't that bad. Like Halo 4 or whatever. When you see Halo 4 compared to Halo 3 graphics, you definitely see, oh, fucking Halo 4 just looks way better than Halo 3 and shit.
The
Some
ultimate
aspects.
questionable one to me, though, the ultimate questionable one is still when I go back and play Bioshock 1. Those graphics are still ahead of its time.
It's still very good. And that's because it was only on one disc.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's only on one disc.
I still think it looked better on the PS3, I think.
It did, but it
The,
didn't run as smooth. That was the
yeah,
difference.
it was jaggedy. Yeah.
Yeah, it ran smooth on the Xbox, but the graphics weren't as crisp. But PS3 looked a little more phenomenal. I don't know why the transport of Xbox to PlayStation was so horrid. Still to this day, Ghost is not as playable as a lot of people think. If you played on the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
If you I played on the 360, I went to PS4. Played on the PS4, it's still very sharp. Like there are certain points where it's very jaggedy.
Yeah. I still say the Xbox One was like really good experience as far as like online experience. Like when you played it, the connection was really really good. The graphics, I mean, it didn't really matter to me how the graphics were because I don't know why. I just couldn't really see a difference in graphics. Might have been minor, who knows?
I still watch like I don't watch that often, but I see some people's gameplays, right, and try to decipher the difference between the 360 and the one. Very slight, subtle differences, but
Wasn't it Sandy Ravage who said that when he saw one of the scenes from Xbox 360 and Xbox One, he's like the 360 looked better, or a little bit different in the lighting or something. I don't remember what he
there,
said. I know he did a
there was
comparison video.
there was what was the one thing I noticed when we were watching Johnny's stream back when the DLC for the Michael Myers came out.
Yeah, like a
The one
month
thing
later.
I, the one thing I, yeah, the one thing I noticed was I think I told you was there were
The no fog.
crickets
Yeah,
in fog. There were crickets, and I'm like, I don't remember crickets. Do you remember crickets? And there wasn't any crickets in the 360. And that little foggy mist at the bottom, where on the one it's kind of see through, but on 360 it's kind of not.
yeah,
But it's just overall, it's not much of a difference. I mean, the evolution, right?
evolution. Also, no matter how great the game looks, doesn't mean it's gonna be the best game. I mean, there's some games that look extraordinary and they're all right, and then there's some games that look really good and they play great. Like Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet is not the best looking game. I mean, if you see it
You,
in a high resolution, it looks really nice.
it is really nice looking.
Yeah, what I meant as in like, oh, it looks realistic kind of type of shit. Because when people would say it looks really nice, as far as like the way it looks fucking awesome, they mean as in how realistically it looks. A Little Bit Planet is not realistic looking at all, but the detail and the color and
One of
also
my
in the cloth and shit, really nice.
one of my favorite games that I played on my friend's house for the PS3. The graphics are amazing. Was that kart game?
The Little Bit Planet Racers or whatever, or
It
PSM
wasn't
Racers.
it wasn't the Little Big Planet
Was it
Racers.
Mod Racers? What was it
It was
called?
Mod Racers.
Mod Racers.
Yes, that thing was like a very detailed, enhanced Mario Kart 64,
Yeah.
and it was just phenomenal. But everyone's still like raving, going like Uncharted just looks like so realistic and like a movie and stuff. I'm like, sometimes you got to give credit to like even Final Fantasy. Those things are beautiful.
Those things are beautiful. Now Uncharted. Now, as far as people praising that, I don't know if you heard the sirens or not, but as far as people praising Uncharted, I can see why they praise it because yes, it was a
Oh well,
very good experience. Very
the thing
nice
about
looking,
Uncharted
good playing.
is I wish I could play it, and
360.
that,
Yeah.
cause yeah, I wish I could play it. Because Uncharted and Infamous are the two franchises at Sony that I want to play. Only because I hear those stories are phenomenal. Not visually, I don't care about the visuals. It's the story themselves.
And the stories are well worth it
Yeah.
because they are very good. And when I would play them every now and then, they were like, fuck, like, these are like very well told stories. And they're long as hell too.
And that's why I wanted a PlayStation. Like, cool, I enjoyed the multiplayer aspect, but I feel like Xbox 360 was only
Multiplayer.
multiplayer. and the PlayStation had all the single players. I don't know. Is it gonna flip?
Well, you can argue with that whole like, well, Xbox, you have Assassin's Creed, but even then, that's not
PlayStation
exclusive.
has Assassin's Creed, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's
Oh,
not exclusive. Yeah.
yeah. No, but is it gonna change when with these new with these new next gen? I can't even call them next gen because they're already out. But with the newer consoles, is that gonna flip? Is Xbox gonna go more single player side, even because it's saying it's more family entertainment, while the PlayStation stating that it's gonna be pure like just gaming?
Well, if it's anything like fucking Rise, I'm gonna say no. If it's anything like Connect Sports or Connect Rivals, I'm gonna say no.
They need to really.
They
That
need to
that
connect
Project
again.
Spark game better come out. It was the only thing that they're really hyping last year, Connect wise.
And the
And if they don't
PS4 has
release
their
that
own
thing,
version of that too.
yeah, but the thing, the PS4 one's already out.
I'm not even sure. I think that was like an indie game, and I'm not even sure.
I don't. But I feel like it's already out. If it's not out, well, it probably is set for release. While the Project Spark was supposed to come out next month, it's not even on the list.
I'm also gonna say this. I saw Infamous Second Son gameplay, and like because again, like
Amazing.
you would see like every now and then, oh, here's a gameplay, this, some gameplay, that. No, when I saw this one on this guy's stream, I'm like, this reminds me somewhat of Infamous One when I played on the PS3. Really good graphics. I'm like, okay, this is next gen console. This is this is what games kind of base off of, because it really is the best looking game, and it's not one of those like, okay, match after match after match. Like, no,
No,
this is a world.
you saw it on the stream. On the stream, you lost some quality.
Well, even in YouTube, you lose quality.
I saw it at my friend's house.
Mhm.
This thing was glorious.
I'm wondering if they're gonna try to make like some kind of Sony 4K monitor TV again, like they did for the PS3. Because that TV was not bad as far as quality goes. It was just really bad as refresh rate. It was not. It was not meant to be one of those gaming PC monitors. It was more like you can enjoy like single player games and also movies. Because really, that thing was like a gigantic PSP, as far as the way it looked. And it's weird because Sony makes TVs and they're kind of like starting to make them less and less because people aren't buying them since they're so expensive. People are going over to like Samsung and shit and Sharp because Sharp has like really large fucking monitors and LG has really good plasma TVs. But yeah, people aren't buying those fucking Sony Bravo TVs anymore. I'm not sure, and I don't know why, but when they made that one TV for the PlayStation, I thought it was actually a really good move. But when I saw, and the fact that they never showed any of the specs kind of worried me though. And people bought them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's really good." I mean, it's not as good as some monitors here and there, or even some larger TVs. Because like when that TV came out, it was like $600, like $500 and stuff. So when I saw it for like $300, it was pretty good. But if they made one for the PS4, I want to know just how good it would be, and if it would be 4K. That's what I want to know, and like how big as its size would be. I think if anybody really wants to buy like a gaming TV, it has to be at least like 28 inches. If they want to buy a monitor, gaming monitor, that'd be around maybe 23, 24 inches. Unless they can get like a 28 inch that's not that fucking high price. Because even 28 inches can cost like around like 600 bucks around there. And you can buy like a fucking 1080p TV for 40 inches or 50 inches around that price. So yeah, it depends on what you want to get and what you want to game with. I still think that those 4K monitors, 4K TVs, um, if anything, I mean, those HDMI cables can't really fucking go that fast. And when it comes to quality, DVI cables can. That's why people always recommend DVI compared to HDMI. Like, I remember when HDMI cables came out for the Xbox 360, people kept on telling me just keep on using your VGA, and I agreed with that because it actually did look a little bit better, and the resolution was a little bit better as well. And it was and there, every now and then like Halo 3 and also Halo Reach didn't like look jagged. Like when you said that, oh, why is it kind of like jaggedy or whatever on Reach? It was because we're using HDMI cables. When I had my VGA, it never did that. So I don't know. It has something to do with that. And all these 4K monitors, like Xbox One getting a 4K, cable. I don't know. I think these TV monitors will be good for the next gen console if maybe the people who are making the hardware make those TVs.
Or maybe we need an updated HDMI.
Well, they are making a new HDMI cable, the HDMI 2 one. But that one, I mean, you remember how expensive the HDMI cables were to begin with when they first came out?
You know what we need, right?
I mean,
We need them. I forgot how much the price was. We need them diamond encrusted HDMI
oh, the
cables.
$1,000 one?
Yeah, the
Mm,
pointless one.
yeah. No, cause I remember seeing like $1,000 cable before, but that's because it was like a 60 foot or 300 foot HDMI cable, and I remember seeing those like a Comp USA or Circuit City or whatever. So I remember seeing I've seen like $1,000 worth cables and $100 worth of cables, but they're like only they're only a certain length. Like remember my cable when I told you about the THX cable that my friend got me from Best Buy because he had a huge fucking discount from Best Buy. It was like 90%. It was a $130 cable, but I got it for like $30 because of his Best Buy discount. That thing was only 3 feet long. Now, as far as quality goes, I even told my dude I'm playing this movie. Doesn't look that much different from my other cable. And also, that one didn't last as long because every now and then, if I use it, if it moves or jiggles a bit, like the picture will go out. And with the Xbox, that sucks because if you unplug your HDMI cable, it literally just restarts. So,
Yeah,
so it wasn't that great. And I hated playing movies on it with that cable because I always used it for my DVD, my Blu-ray player. Because I already maybe in hopes it would look the best, but every now and then I remember it would just like go black screen back, black screen black and back and all that stuff. So I was like, ah, this cable sucks, so I really don't want to use it anymore. But yeah, I don't know those 4K monitors. P only PCs can really run that. If people want 4K console fucking games and shit to play in 4K, good luck with that shit. I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. And if people complain about the oh these games aren't in 1080p, no games have been in 1080p. Like, I think the closest one that hasn't came out yet, maybe fucking Infamous 2 whatever. But I remember Halo 4 being the closest to being 720p. I remember it was very close to being 720p as far as like the in-game content. When people think, oh, it's not 1080p, well, look at it. Some
that is
videos,
allowed.
yeah. I can cut that out cause if he didn't speak or whatever. But whatever. No. Like think about it. How much is an Xbox 360 game when you download it? It's like 6 gigs, right?
Depends on the game.
Okay, look at Saints Row the Third. That thing was like 7 gigs almost.
Yeah,
Imagine if everything inside that thing was 1080p. That thing would be like 50 gigs. Because even movies that are 2.5 hours long, the 1080p movies are like around 20 gigs. That is really fucking loud.
I don't know why my windows are closed.
I can always cut that out just because whenever in a conversation or whatever. But whatever. Like people complain that the game's not in 1080p. I mean, first the consoles just came out. Developers are still trying to even see what the consoles can even do, and also they even stated before, now that the consoles can play huge ass files, they don't know what to do with all that free space. Like we can add this, we can add that, we can throw that in there. They don't know what to do with all the extra space they can do. That's why like Dead Rising was such a short game, but there were so many zombies at once because like, oh, we can throw that in there, throw that in there. Like yeah, it can run it, but now they're like, okay, now what do we do as far as like gameplay goes? Like we don't know. So, I don't know. It being 720, it being 1080 doesn't really matter to me. If it looks good, that's cool. But if you're complaining that it doesn't look better, or if it's not a better fucking resolution, then you're stupid. And Johnny, you're stupid for demanding these videos be in 1080p. And if you've gotten this far, I'd love to tell you right now, I've been fucking rendering those things in the lowest bitrate possible under the 1080p name, so it still appears as 1080p on the fucking YouTube. But in fact, it's probably like 720 and a third or a quarter.
I don't think he's made it. I don't think he's
I know.
made it past. Hey Johnny, you're fired.
Fire. Yeah, I know. But then again, that's just that. That's for it being out there. Whatever. I think that's pretty much it on that little topic of like 4K monitors and I guess resolution demand and stuff.
I don't I
And
don't
hell,
I don't
we can
I
even
don't
get, we
know
can even
I don't
get
know
into the
how
Batman
you got
conversation.
into it.
Well, it's good. We're talking about the PS Vita and all that stuff. And then we're talking about TVs and then PS4 as far as quality goes. multiplexing and
Batman.
that stuff. That's what I'm saying. We
Bat.
we
Bat.
could get into Batman, into
I
Bat.
don't want. I don't want to for the sake that I want to see a picture of him looking up.
Yeah,
But was it you that linked me to that awesome depressed Batman
yes, it was me.
meme? Yep.
Yeah, that was to make Johnny happy. That was to please Johnny because it was like, oh, he was like all sad and angry at the same time. I was like, well, you're not as depressed Batman.
Yeah. Well, this was because he wasn't aware that the news he was gonna get was that he was fired.
He was fired.
Yeah, that you fired him.
Ah,
You were trying to cheer him up, going like, "It's okay, little buddy. Look, Batfleck."
yeah, yeah. What else can we go on? We're about I think we're about hitting maybe the 1 hour mark. 'Cause I think I remember seeing like 30 minutes when we started the actual podcast. We're around 33 minutes. We're probably close to maybe like 1 hour, but
6 minutes from.
6 minutes from. But I do know there's some other things we can talk about, or at least ramble on about.
You had something.
I did have some random news.
What kitty?
The cat news. Oh, you want that kind of news? Okay, stay here. All right,
I don't.
whatever, whatever.
I don't know if I want cat news, but
Well, I'm just gonna say this right now. The world's currently oldest cat is 24 years old. It's deaf and blind, and it loves to eat KFC. Now, it's still very active from what the owners say. It's still very active, and the other cats, if it's eating its food, the cat will bite its ear, to kind of nibble on it to tell them, like, hey, it's my fucking food. Fuck off. Now, for it to be the oldest cat to ever exist, this cat would have. Okay, I guess I said it was 24 years old. It was born in 1990. I think it was August 1990. No, February 1990. For it to be considered the oldest cat to ever have lived, also the cat's name is Poppy, right? It would have to be a cat named Cream Puff, who lived in Texas, Austin, Texas, and lived up to 38 years old and 3 days. That cat died back in 2005. So Cream Puff was 38 years old. Poppy here has another 14 years to go in order to fucking catch up to Cream Puff. Even if you saw this cat, you're like, fuck, this cat looks, like no. You can tell it's aged. You can tell it's past its prime.
and this is why we don't have segments of cats
And
on
then
the show.
in other news,
Mm.
a Tennessee man had sex with an ATM.
This is why we still don't have segments of cats.
Got a 40-year-old Tennessee man was arrested after making an unusual deposit at a Murfreesboro ATM. They say Lonnie Hutton walked up to the Borough Bar and Grill, pulled down his pants, and tried having sex with an automatic banking machine.
He was hammered, I bet.
Maybe. Officers arrived at the scene say they saw him walking around the bar nude, thrusting his hips in the air, according to whatever radio. Hutton also was taken outside in order to sit at a wooden picnic table. Police say he then exposed himself again and engaged in sexual intercourse with the wooden picnic table. Officers noted in the police report that Hutton smelled of alcohol, had slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, and was unsteady on his feet. He was charged with public intoxication and taken to the Rutherford County Jail on a $250 bond. He is due in court on July 1st. So if you're drunk and in public, and if you expose yourself in Tennessee, you only get fined $250.
Hmm.
Well, not really fined. It's more like a bond. And in actuality, that's only $25 because bonds are only 10% of what you pay.
Hmm. That.
One person did comment saying that the picnic table was dressed seductively in a paisley paper tablecloth.
I'm gonna say that is some story.
Yeah.
Almost takes away from mine. So sad.
What is your story?
Mine's is a story of a master's degree graduate writing a letter to his former school.
Ah, go on.
Yeah, I love this thing. So it's titled "Angry Graduate Just Wrote This Letter."
Hmm.
Right, to his university. It's hard not to agree with them, and it's true. So it's the university asks alumni for donation money. One graduate sends back this email: Dear University Alumni Office, I'm sorry to hear that the university's $750 million endowment has fallen in value to $500 million because of the recession and because your bank died. I'm also sorry to hear that you're dealing with declining enrollment due to the fact that middle class families are no longer willing or able to bet their homes on a $45,000 a year higher education for their children. I really am. So what I want to know is, why are you wasting money on glossy fundraising brochures full of meaningless synonyms for the word excellence? And why are you sending them to me? Yes, I know that I got a master's degree at your fine institution, but that master's degree hasn't done jack shit for me since I got it. I've been unemployed for the past 2 years and now a professional resume submitter, sending out dozens of resumes a month to employers, and the degree I received in your hallowed halls is at the top of it, and it doesn't do a fucking thing.
Hmm.
No, maybe if you wanted a little bit of money from me, and these days you'd get about $3, maybe you should send me a fancy color brochure admitting your role in the bubble economics that got us all into this mess. Hold on.
Hmm. And that'll be a quick commercial break telling Johnny he's fired.
You're fired.
I think somebody was knocking at the door.
That's what it sounded like.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Well, for example, since 1987, higher education expenses have gone up to 450%, while personal income in this country has gone up 87%, making tuition impossible to afford without special financing. But during this time, you were thriving because people could come up with the cash in two ways. One, get a home equity loan and use the inflated value of their house to pay for their kid to get drunk at your school and then lose the house when the market crashed. Two, get a federal loan. Had it occurred to you that neither of these sources of money actually exist, that it was being manufactured because you made people think one of your degrees was necessary to climb to the top of the bubble? Oh yes, federal loans. I've got $40,000 of those, which are in forbearance right now because I'm unemployed, meaning that the feds are paying the interest for a while, which is convenient for me, but not for our government, which is now owned by China. The idea behind federal loans was that it would allow more students to attend your university, not let you inflate your tuition to obscene levels. I mean, what the fuck were you spending the $16,000 per semester on anyway? I was in a public policy program, so that meant we got to sit in classrooms and listen to professor got up at the front of the lecture hall, glorify himself and creation as he saw it, and talk about how much smarter he was than anyone else and how much he'd learned at MIT and Rand Corporation. Really, that's about all you did for us. Gave us a lecture hall, gave us an arrogant bastard to listen to, and gave us a room full of computers we could use sometimes. And you gave us a degree that employers look at and say, this guy knows how to write reports. And I will be paying this privilege until I'm 51 years old. So I'm sorry that the economy's been rough on you. Maybe if you wanted to save a little money, you could stop printing and sending brochure to my parents' house. Oh yeah, that's where I live because I can't afford rent on anything. And maybe I'll donate a little bit of money to you in 2030 when I get the loans for your imaginary education paid off. Sincerely yours, alumnus.
Well, that definitely deserves like a slow clap, but it's kind of how I always saw things. Like some degrees you need, some schools you have to go to, like being a doctor and all that stuff. But what was that one quote that you judge an animal intelligence on how well they are to obey orders and stuff. Yet schools judge your intelligence on how well you do on tests and how well you do, how's it called, on like on memorizing stuff. 'Cause what was that one thing like schools don't all schools really do is just test your not your knowledge but test your like what's not
No,
memory
it's
skills,
yeah, no. They test your memory skills. How
like your
well can
memory
you
skills.
memorize?
Like
How,
yeah,
how well can you memorize something?
like we review this. Like okay, what a review kind of thing. And now and again, that's in a way that is learning, but in a way, yeah, it's more like oh, 2 plus 2. Again, I remember two is always +2. But yeah,
Wait,
I mean, the whole fucking like formulas. That's something you really want to remember. You don't want to remember math problems. You want to remember the formulas and how to solve them and all that shit. But then it kind of just goes down to that whole thing. But if if you go to college, not everything you're going to college for is going to be worth it. I mean, when you get that degree, you get that diploma, all it really says is, hey, I paid a crap load of money to get this paper that said I learned something. That's all it kind of really is, in most parts. Now, doctors, they get like fucking masters, associates, and doctor's degrees and all that crap. That's more like padding their stats in a way. Like, oh, I'm this kind of doctor in this many categories, or I'm this kind of doctor for so long and shit, or I went to this kind of school for that kind of education and stuff. And yeah, those things kind of do matter when you want to go for someone who you put your life in their hands and kind of shit. But yeah, I mean, hell, you can be a really good nurse and have gone to a community college or some kind of nursing school and that kind of bullshit. So for him to write all that shit down, yeah, I agree with him. A lot of people would agree with him as well. But then also a lot of teachers who teach, a lot of things would also say that, hey, you need education, because this one student wrote a letter to the fucking rival high school that we have down the street, and the grammatical errors in that thing made all the teachers and some students face palm like so damn hard.
this one was well written. This one was a master's degree.
Of course, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's because what happened a couple of years ago, like about like maybe a year or two after I got out of high school. It might have been the year right after I got out of high school. They cut the lunch period like down from like 45 minutes to like around like 35 minutes or so. And all that stuff. And now the kids were pissed off because it gave them less time in the middle of the day to kind of relax between class and stuff, and also hang out with their friends. And the school board was like, well, that's why you have extracurricular activities and all that stuff to hang out with your friends and also do work and learn all this other shit. And then also you have jobs to hang out with your friends there if if you have a job kind of thing. And but all the teachers also agreed. They're saying, hey, we spend time with these kids all fucking day. It's not that you adding another 5 minutes or whatever, or 2 minutes to the class period that's really gonna hurt us. It's the fact that you're taking away 10 minutes for us to actually go out and get food and then come back and have an actual relaxing fucking lunch. So even the teachers were kind of like in on that. But this student wasn't. This whole student's letter was not to the board. It was to the school in general. It wasn't to the board. It was to the school, and to like quote on teachers and all that stuff like that, whatever. And the fact that it had like so many grammatical errors, everybody was saying like, maybe you need those extra 2 or 3 minutes in class, depending on how fucking well written. Because it was written out. I don't think, no, it was typed. Yeah, it was typed, and there were like so many mistakes and shit. And they were saying, well, obviously you didn't know about fucking spell correct or and also that stupid shit. And like also grammatical errors, and so the teachers were just roasting his ass on that. But then also other teachers were saying, parents don't realize that they do need those extra times in the classroom because kids just don't want to learn sometimes, and they make mistakes like this, shit like that. So it was funny that the kid wrote that kind of letter. How you told me right now, this alumnus wrote a letter to his collegiate school and all that stuff. But it reminded me of that one letter this fucking kid wrote to his high school, where it just made him look stupid. It had some truth to it, but it was just, it was trumped by huge grammatical errors.
It was like that one picture I saw of this teacher who corrected this one dude's grammar. It was like a senior saying that he didn't need this class, that the teacher can go f himself and whatnot and all this and all that.
Hmm.
But there was so many grammatical errors that the teacher decided to sit there and actually, it was an English teacher who decided to sit there and fix the
Yeah, he
letter.
graded it. He graded it.
Yes, he did.
I remember seeing that picture on the internet. Yes,
That was the best graded picture ever.
so many things on that internet. Yeah. All right. I don't know if you want to end it right then and there. We can go on for like another fucking hour if we wanted to, as long as it's not boring and shit. But we do know that we do seem to ramble on a lot.
Yeah, we do.
We do. And we're not gonna talk anything stupid about like Doom and shit, but whatever.
No, but we will bring up this.
Mhm.
Wolfenstein came out. The hype was not real.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody posting any videos on it.
Well,
The only person I saw really streaming Wolfenstein was Boogie. That was it.
the hype is not real.
Yeah. Although there is 45,000 people currently watching it right now on Twitch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. As far as like the highest person watching it right now is like 20,000 viewers. The person next to him is 10,000. So everybody else below that is around the 2,000, if not like half a thousand kind of thing. But yeah, as far as like oh no, whatever. I don't know. I really don't want to say about it because I don't really follow people who do Wolfenstein anything. So yeah. I can't state that, oh, it was a flop. Then again, it's really hard with these campaign games, because just like The Last of Us, that thing was like extremely popular for that month and a half because everybody was playing it. Everybody was doing the campaign because it was one of those let's play games. So almost everybody was doing that and shit. But at the end of the day, it was really mostly a campaign game. Yeah, sure, it had team deathmatch and all that stuff. But games like that, like games like Bioshock Infinite, still really great game to fucking watch and play. But it's a campaign game. That's it. You can't really do anything else aside from that. It's just the campaign. Now they were smart when they added fucking DLC to it. That kept the game alive and shit. But that's pretty much it. And I think that's pretty much it. Unless you want to add something more to it.
I think it's just a campaign. I don't even know if it has multiplayer.
Wolfenstein? I don't know. We'll find out later after this, whatever.
Yeah, when if Johnny makes a return, he can talk about it.
Yeah, that's
Till
pretty much
then,
it. Yeah, I think that does it.
goodbye, everybody.
I stopped recording. So. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's still recording. Or
How does
is
Johnny?
it?
How does Johnny end this thing?
He ends in the stupidest of ways that will not be fucking said or quoted on the show unless he's on it, which will then later be cut from the show because nobody's ever gonna want to hear it again. But yeah,
I believe the ending went a little bit like
that's all, folks.